Hello, this is Manesh Patel from Ichimoku .com. This is March 16, 2013. Welcome to our bi-weekly videos on the futures market, where we're going to cover everything from crude oil, natural gas, corn, commodity futures, cotton, sugar, bonds, and so forth. Remember, we've changed these formats now to bi-weekly format, so that we could pretty much not get boring, and it could be more effective in covering instruments, because instruments move a lot more in 2 weeks compared to 1 week. Anyways, normal disclaimer: this is for education use only. If you decide to take any trades that we go through, you're doing that at your own risk. This is pretty much for education only. All charts are going to be from TradeStation. Here are my contact details here at info@eiicapital.com. You could go to our website at ichimokutrade.com, access any of our free videos, access our multiple time frame email alerts, and so forth. Also, just to encourage people, you should go to our blog, which is ichimokuwebsite.com, where you could see exactly all the trades we're taking on a weekly basis. We publish our trades of the week and stuff like that, priced on the multiple time frame emails. Here are our contact details too. You can call us at any of the locations here. Okay, let's go straight to TradeStation. And okay, so here's TradeStation here. First instrument we're going to look at is here. Remember, on the left hand side is your daily time frame, on the right hand side is the weekly. First future we're looking at soybean oil. If you look at soybean oil, really not doing anything right now, just consolidating. It is bearish sentiment, but it's just consolidating. It really's got to break down below 48, which is its major support. Resistance, which is a moving resistance right now. The minor one's going to be about 50.92, and the major one's going to be around 54. So this one really is not doing anything, but definitely keep on watching for this to sit there and break down. Below 48. If it does, it could continue its trend going to the downside. Next we got here is corn. Corn, you could see here, it's just been going up and down here. Kind of held its support level at 688. As you could see from here, let me just adjust the charts. 688 is a support level. Resistance is going to be basically 731 and 4/8. So this thing's just consolidating right now. However, this is starting to tilt bearish. If it can sit there and break the support of 688, this thing does have a tendency, it can sit there and start a trend to the downside to possibly get to about 576. So keep an eye on this one. Not quite prime yet for a breakdown down, but this is starting to set up to go down. This bullish momentum here is not, it did a pullback, but it's not sitting there taking off, and the more it doesn't, it's going to get weaker and weaker. Next, we're looking at cocoa continuous futures. You can see here it's held its support at basically 2062. It's its support right there. Major resistance is going to be 2341. Right now, if you look at this on a daily time frame, this thing's just ranging between 2147 and 2105, depending on which way it breaks. If it breaks down 2105, it's going to retest the low again at 2062, and then possibly can sit there and break it. If not, if this thing breaks the resistance at 2147, this thing's going to sit there and go higher to possibly about 2341. My bets here, since this hasn't been able to break this support here, is that cocoa finally may be at its bottom. So keep a lookout for the 2147 to go up, because that's where you're going to break that resistance. If it does, then you got some really good reward risk ratio trades that you could take before it gets to the next major resistance. Crude oil here, a lot of people have been looking at it. I'm not sure why. This thing's really not doing anything at all except bouncing between 99.73 and 88.15. That's been doing that for a while. It's very crazy, and it is. Intraday levels are going to be 94.64 and 92.07. Cotton here, as you could see, is finally broken out here to the trend. You could see from the daily it's trending. It was trending on the weekly. This thing is now starting to move up, and keep an eye on this one. If you missed it, you missed it. You can't go jumping in right now. You need to wait for a pullback, but this thing really has not pulled back much at all. it's taken off in the last 2 weeks, as you could see from here and here. We've been talking about this here from the previous video. So cotton's pretty much starting a trend to the top side. Where this is going to go, at 95 is a major resistance, so we're going to see exactly what happens at 95. Hopefully it'll stop there and kind of pull back. But that's kind of what we're waiting to see there. But if you're not in this, you can't get in it right now. But this thing does, believe it or not, it's very, very strong and does have a potential, if it could break 95, to get to about 100, which is next resistance, and then keep on making a move. Every about 10 points or so after that, it's going to have a resistance it's going to run to. But this thing does have a lot of momentum right now, so I'll definitely keep an eye on cotton. We're going to come back to those in a minute. This is basically feeder cattle here. You can see feeder cattle here broke the support here we had laid out, 142.52 from the last video, and continuing its trend to the downside. So this is trending to the downside on both the daily and weekly, which is good. And if you look at it, it's trying to get here to these levels here, and let's mark those levels so you can see what they are. And I'm just going to give you a conservative level right there at 138.48, which is going to be its next major support. Resistance on this one's going to be about 144.81. 5-year treasuries. Let's increase this so we can see this better. Really not doing anything at all, just ranging here between these ranges here. And let's just mark them up here. You can see that, and here. So this thing is just sitting there ranging between those two values right now and really doing nothing until it does. There's nothing here to talk about. The daily here, you can see if it's swinging back and forth if you enlarge the chart, but there's nothing trades in there at all. If you're trading in there, you're not getting any good reward risk ratio trades, so it's not even worth it at all. Heating oil. It had a chance here to start a trend to the top side, and it kind of just walked away and moved away and just entered a consolidation pattern. And you could see this thing still holding in a consolidation pattern between 2.8401 and 3.2542. So nothing really going on there. This is basically right here, coffee. If you look here, coffee is basically retested low, the support at 138.16. It kind of broke it and still at a support level right now, but this thing is still trending on both the daily and weekly side right now, going down. So right now, if you look, cotton, feeder cattle, and coffee are the ones that are trending right now. This is lumber here. Lumber is retesting its high right now at it's at its resistance at 400. Support on this guy is going to be roughly about, I will give you about 383. If it could break this resistance at 400, this thing's going to continue to start a trend to the top side and keep on moving forward. So keep an eye on lumber moving in the next couple of weeks. But this thing have the potential of starting a trend to both the top side. Live cattle, you've seen pretty much all the meat products, the poultry products are sitting there tanking and are in the trend on both the daily and weekly. And you can see this on live cattle too. This is starting a trend to the downside. If you look here, it's at a support level right now, which is right here. Well, let's just mark it up so you can see what that support level is. It's right here, 125.65. Bounced off there, but that doesn't really mean anything there. It's still very, very strong moving forward. So let's enlarge this again. So it could sit there and possibly break that. Resistance on this one's going to be about 128.73. So keep an eye on that one. Lean hogs, this is not much of a trend compared to feeder cattle and live cattle. Reason why is the weekly looks very, very ugly, so I would stay away from this one. In fact, you could do some pairs trading where you could bet on this one going up and either live cattle or feeder cattle going down, and that would work out really well, because this is just going to sit there and hesitate, because this is in a big consolidation pattern between 88 and basically about 70, I would say 75. So that's that. Natural gas here, you could see here it's popped out here. This is a big move up here. Okay, however, you got to take in consideration this is still a consolidation pattern. It's broken a major resistance, which is very, very good, which signifies now that basically you either have a possibility of a major pullback or a trend reversal that could take place. However, before that could take place, it definitely needs to pull back. So I would not sit there and jump into this thing right now bullish at all. I'll be patient and wait for the trade opportunity to come to you. This thing really needs to pull back. If it could pull back to either about 3.719 or 3.553, that'd be great. Then you could start looking for maybe bullish opportunities, but that is basically where it's going to be right now. If you took a resistance look at the resistance levels, it's at a resistance level now, but I would say basically 4 is going to be basically its major resistance level. It's a nice even number, which a lot of people I'm sure are going to be looking at. Orange juice here. If you look at orange juice here along the daily, it looks like it's starting to trend here, as you could see from the charts here. But if you look at the weekly, you could tell that basically it's not trending at all right now. It's the sentiment has just changed last week to being bullish, and so you need to sit there and just be patient and wait for this thing to sit there and move. It is at a resistance level right now. Support on this one's going to be about 372. But if you shrink this out, this is not really trending at all. I would stay away from orange juice and kind of stick to probably cotton, as we talked about right now. What was the other one? I think it was cocoa. I think it was cocoa. No. Oh, sorry. It was here. Coffee, and then the feeder cattle, alive cattle, which are a lot better looking than orange juice right now. Platinum, really, platinum's really not doing anything, and you're going to see that pretty much from all across all the metals. This thing's ranging about 1554 and 1736, so nothing really to talk about there at all. Let's move on. Let's see, we did that one, and oh, gasoline, this is a great one. This is still trending to the bullish on the weekly time frame. It's held its minor support, which it's right now at 3.16. Major support on this one's going to be about 2.99. As long as this holds 2.99, this thing's going to sit there and stay in its bullish trend momentum. So keep an eye on that one. Resistance on this one's going to be about 3.22 as we move forward. But this is bullish trending, no matter what a lot of people think that's going on with the volatility. Rice here, you could see it's breaking down here. It broke out of its consolidation pattern right now. Let's shrink this down, and you could see that it basically even sat there and broke that support level here, which was laid out right there, and let's enlarge this, and broke that support level there. It does need a pullback. If it could pull back to at least about 1507 or 1524, that'd be great before it continues this trending down. But this has started a trend to the downside, so keep an eye on that one. This right here is soybeans. If you look at soybeans, not really doing anything right now. It's at a major support level right now. Resistance on that one's going to be about 1524. This is sugar. If you look at sugar here, it's trying to start a bullish trend. However, it's going to run into a resistance very fast, 1960. Reason why, this is still bearish trending. Major resistance is in 1960. Until it can break 1960, this bearish trend is still going to be intact. Believe it or not, a lot of people think, well, there's upward movements, are bullish, but it's not. It's just a minor pullback right now until it gets to 1960, and that's going to be the true test of what's going to happen there. Support on this one's going to be about 1780. Sorry. Gold, really not doing anything, as we laid out before. This thing's just ranging between 1555 and 1803. It's kind of got close to the 1600 level, quite hasn't gotten broken through there. Resistance on this one's going to be about 1628 and then 1679. But this thing is just consolidating in a big consolidation path, so nothing really going on there. Let's see what this is. Soybean meal. Soybean meal here is just consolidating right now. Nothing really going on. It's at a major support, and the resistance is about 453. And if you notice, this looks very, very similar to soy charts, so they are very correlated right now. Let's go look here. This is the 2-year Treasury notes. Really not doing anything either. This thing's just sitting there consolidating between this top of the range here and whoa. And if you look here, bottom of the range right there. So that's the two ranges right now. This thing's just going back and forth between. Here, this is the 10-year Treasury notes, really not doing anything at all here. And if you look here, it's pretty much ranging between the two. Right there is pretty much the range right there. Um, if you look in here, this is a 30-year Treasury note. You could see this is actually starting to get to the bottom of the cloud, so this is very weak compared to the other bond-related Treasury notes, you could call them. And you can see here that this is at the support right now, and if it could sit there and break the support here, this thing can start a trend to the bearish side. So here's the support there and resistance here. So this is a great one to keep an eye on, where this is going to sit there and possibly sit there and could go down. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that one in the next couple of weeks. Wheat. This is wheat here. It's basically at its major support right now, which is 690. Resistance is going to be 723, and this is the first one, and 743 is the next one. It's got to hold those two resistances in order to sit there and keep on going to the downside. If it doesn't, and if it breaks those, especially 743, this thing's going to enter one big consolidation pattern. So I'll be very careful of this one. It's kind of in a do or die scenario. Silver is pretty much like gold, but it's a lot weaker here because it never got to support here. Right now it's just sitting there slowly trickling down, so this is more towards the bearish side right now, and on this one the resistance is going to be about 30.25 and 29.89, and support basically is going to be about 28. And copper, lastly, a lot of people are starting to get bullish for copper. I have no idea why. And this thing just looks ugly right now. Sentiment is still bearish here. If this thing sits there and breaks the support of 3.400, watch out, because this thing's going to get momentum to sit there and tank and go down. So I would very be careful in trying to go bullish here, based on fundamentals with China and stuff like that. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I will speak to you next week. Thank you.